Good afternoon or evening, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special episode of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today's episode is even more extra special than usual because I have an extra special guest host joining me, none other than Chairman of the Accrington Stanley Supporters Club, Peter Latham, is on the line with me to chat with Bobby Grant, a guy who made his first appearance with Accrington all the way back in 2007 at the age of just 16 and has now returned back to the club this year. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And welcome to the show, Peter.
Hi, Phil. Pleased to be on.
Now, like I mentioned in the introduction, you made your very first appearance with Accrington all the way back in 2007. I believe it was the last game of the season, and you were at that time you were the second youngest player ever to play for the club. So, what was it like to play in a league match around the same time you're getting your driver's license?
Yeah, when you put it like that, it makes me sound like I'm so old, but. I still remember the game like it was yesterday. I remember travelling down and we was in the hotel room and I didn't know whether I was going to play, whether I was going to be involved. And then it was the evening after we'd had pre-match meal and I had to get up and do a song in front of the lads. And then, my nerves were gone as a 16-year-old, boy, really. But, it made me the character I am today. And then the morning of the game, came down for breakfast again, couldn't sleep because my nerves were all over the place. And
I can imagine.
John Coleman pulled me to the side and asked if my parents were coming to watch the match. And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, you better get on the... he put it a bit different to this, but you better get on the phone to them and tell them to come down because you're playing. And when he said I was starting the game, again the adrenaline was pumping and I couldn't believe it. And I still have the match shirt in my parents' house, and it's a memory that'll stick with me forever.
It's everything that you'd worked for up to your life at that point kind of pay it off for you when you get that word from the gaffer that you're going to start.
Yeah, it was. And I think it's only when I look back, I didn't feel any pressure to go in. I just thought it was just like a game with your mates in the park. And, it's only when you're standing in the tunnel and all the fans are outside and you realise that, this is real. And if you don't perform, there's a good chance that you'll never get the opportunity to play again. And, even though we lost the match, it was a special occasion. And, it's one, as I say, it's one that'll remain with me for the rest of my life.
It's certainly quite an experience for somebody at 16 years, 309 days. Apparently, so that's quite an achievement, that, Bobby. To be honest.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's it. I think football's a career where you get caught up in the whirlwind of playing every week and stuff like that. But as I've got older, I do look back on it, and I think I'm proud to have made my debut at such a young age. But also I have to thank Accrington and, thank John Coleman, Jimmy Bell, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know what my career would have been.
Well, I think that first appearance set the building blocks for you, and then it wasn't too long later that you found yourself as a regular starter. It was 2 years later in 2009, and that was really your breakout season. You had 14 goals that season, so that was when your career really took off, was in that 2009-2010 season. Tell us a little bit about that year.
Yeah, it was. And, I look back and, the way the gaffer John Coleman went about it, my squad number when I first started was number 44. And then the following season, I was number 22. And I was thinking, didn't really think too much of it at the time. But then the year where I became a regular in the side, when I turned 18, I was number 11. And that's when I thought to myself, okay, then you really need to step up to the plate now and start performing. And you've got it 1 to 11. You've got the number 11 shirt on your back. It's time to produce. And for the gaffer, John Coleman, Jimmy Bell, the club to put faith in me at such a young age to go out there and play every week, it was great. It was a great boost for my confidence. And as I say, being that young, I could just go out there and enjoy it. I didn't really think of any pressures, whereas when you're older, you understand a bit more about the pressures of winning, losing, etc.
Yeah. It probably all starts to catch up with you after a while, doesn't it, really? But this is actually your third stint under John Coleman and Jimmy, isn't it? You played with him 2012-13 across at Rochdale as well. And that was actually your top goal scoring season with 15 goals. Tell us a bit about that season, Bobby. Yeah,
it was strange the way it came about. I make no qualms about it. When if John Coleman rings me, I will always want to go and play for him and Jimmy, because I think if you look at my career, whenever I've played for him, I've always produced. I've always had my best goal scoring runs. I've always enjoyed myself, played with a smile on my face. And, when you have a manager who backs you as much as John has backed me in my career, you go onto the pitch, full of confidence and you know that you're going to do well for the team. And I think at Rochdale, I was having a bit of a sticky patch at Scunthorpe, I think. And, when I bumped into the gaffer, he mentioned about me coming. And, to be fair, I'd lived away from a young age. I moved to Scunthorpe for 3 years, and it was really tough because I was a young lad. I'd moved away from me, my friends and my family, and it was hard. And you have to grow up a lot quicker than any normal 18-year-olds. So when I could get back home and go and sign for Rochdale, I jumped at the chance. And as I say, playing under a manager who has got your back no matter what, whether you play good, bad. And, as I say, I went out there and I managed to score goals for him. And, I ended up I ended up getting sold to Blackpool on the back of it. So.
Just on Rochdale, obviously, whilst you had a great season there scoring goals, obviously it didn't quite work out as well for John and Jimmy. Why do you think it didn't work out as well at Rochdale as it's done at Accrington over the years?
Yeah, me personally, I think it's what people want at a football club. I think John and Jimmy is a fantastic manager and assistant manager. They're a great team, and it wouldn't surprise me if if they ever do go to the top. But it hasn't surprised me recently what they've done with Accrington, because to take the club where they've took it, it's an unbelievable achievement. And it's a family club. Whereas at Rochdale, it was a bit different, because I think their most successful manager in Keith Hill, I think he was available at the time when Rochdale weren't having a great run of form. And I think it was John and Jimmy who were the scapegoats to get Keith Hill back in. That's my personal opinion. And I didn't agree with it, but I think once they left Rochdale, Keith Hill was great with me, but I was never ever. I didn't really want to stay there after. The only reason I went to play for Rochdale was to play for John and Jimmy. And the minute that they lost their job, it was sort of, well, I think my time here is up for me to move on.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think the situation with John and Jimmy in Accrington is that they get the club, they understand the club, but equally the club understand them. And I think
definitely.
It just works. I think if you put any other two managers and assistants into that position at Accrington, it just wouldn't have worked. Just wouldn't have worked. Yeah. They've worked with nothing for a number of years. Obviously, they're now working with a bit more than nothing, and it's still working well. They just understand the place, to be honest, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. And to be fair, as you say, I think the fans, the club, the chairman now, I think everyone's in the same direction. Everyone's pulling together. Everyone understands each other. And, that's the reason for the success of Accrington, because without the fans, without the players, without the staff, without the chairman all going in the one direction, it would never have been successful as what they have been over the last couple of seasons. And
you're absolutely right, Bobby. Absolutely right.
It's been great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear in hearing your answers how much you think of John Coleman and Jimmy Bell. And like you mentioned, most of the best seasons of your career have happened under them. And there's actually a quote that I found in an article from John. And John said, "We know what Bobby is all about. We know what we are getting with him, and we know he will work his socks off for us, help us win games, keep us up in League One. He knows how me and Jimmy Bell operate, and he will be prepared to run through brick walls for us." I mean, that's a great quote from the gaffer.
Yeah,
and is it just that willingness to run through brick walls for them that makes you fit their style, or does their style of play also kind of suit you?
Oh, I think first and foremost, the team is built around working hard. You have to fit into the team, and I think since I've gone back there and even before, if you're not prepared to work hard and fit into their style of play and their team, then you won't play. And the team is bigger than any individuals. You have individuals who win your football matches, but without the team, you don't win them games. And for me personally, I've always thought when I've played for John and Jimmy, it's sort of, first and foremost, you have to put your shift in for the side. But then on the other side of it, the man management skills of the two of them is second to none in my opinion. And, be sure to, when you are working hard, they also give you the freedom to express your game and go and, if you're a forward player in the team, your job basically is to win them the game. And
what was it that David Walker was saying that he spoke with Andy Holt? And David Walker, of course, is the read but never read Manchester City host and writer. He was saying that he spoke with Andy Holt, and Andy Holt said that he would not trade John Coleman for Pep Guardiola, and I think that is... I think that's a true statement right there.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It sounds funny, but going to what Peter said before, that, if what John and Jimmy are fits, not many managers could work with what they work with at Accrington and be as successful as they've been. And I think that's the point that the chairman's getting at. I think, even himself and John, Jimmy, the club, all the staff, John Doolan, they all understand each other, and they all understand what the fans want, what the players want. And, I think when you turn up for a game for Accrington, it's not, okay, let's just get changed, go out, play, get it changed and go home. It's sort of, you mix with the fans, you go in, you speak to them after the game. It's sort of a family vibe to it. And, when you go out at the stadium, it's like, that everyone's behind you. So the other team turn up and they think, this is going to be a long afternoon. And, that atmosphere, it's very difficult to play in front of, because I've been back to Accrington to play, and it's very difficult.
Yeah. Do you think John and Jimmy's management style has changed over the years, Bobby? Obviously, you've seen them over, 13 years, I suppose, on and off. Have there been many changes?
I think the foundation is still there of, mentality and work rate, and, if you're not prepared to put the effort in. But I think as a football side of things, I think it has evolved. But I also think that comes with personnel. I think, they've over the years, and certainly the last few years that they've been very successful, they've had better players to work with. And when you have better players to work with, and you can implement your style of play that you want to do with better players, then you're going to be successful, and it's going to show on the pitch, which it did. And quite a lot of players are limited, and I think the squad that they've got at the moment, and myself included in that squad, it's a very, very good squad. It's you've got young players, you've got experience, but you've got a lot of talent, and that's the reason behind the success that they've had, and the reason why I wanted to go back there to be a part of that as an older player now.
Yeah, I think sort of sat on the sidelines, and I sit just behind the dugouts. Watching John over the years, he seems to have he seems to have mellowed quite a lot now in terms of, think back to the early years. He was screaming at everybody. Now I think it seems to be Jimmy and John Doolan doing most of the tactical stuff. John just sits back. Apart from when the fourth official's involved, when they all have a go. It's a bit like a tag team.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about that fourth official.
Every week they're the same, but I think I've had me fair share of rollickings off John myself when you haven't pulled your finger out at half time, etc. But that's just because they've got that much passion to win football matches.
Sure.
Sometimes it comes across like that, that they're not doing the right thing, but that the passion and the drive that they have to be successful is unbelievable, and it's very infectious, and that's the reason why the lads turn up every week and give their all, because every day in training you get treated properly, you put your work in, you get treated with respect. And as I say, over the years, I think John I think he's took a step back because you have great backroom staff. You've got John Doolan, who's had an unbelievable career. He's got a wealth of experience, and same with Jimmy Bell. He's been there, done it, got the T-shirt. He's won promotions. He's as with Accrington, and I think when even in training, if them two take the training, when the manager does step in, when John does step in and say something, then it means more to the lads, because the lads feel it better. Sometimes when when a manager's doing everything and he's on the training pitch and he's doing all the work, sometimes it's hard to take in everything that he wants.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Whereas when he just when he sees that there's a problem or something needs tweaking or something needs fixing or he's got ideas, then he'll step into the training and say, this is what we want. And then you can process it better then.
So now you're a guy that, like you said, I mean, even if your debut was so long ago, you're only just 29 years old still, but you've had not only a great career under John Coleman, but at some other stops too. And there's really there's two that kind of stick out to me that I really wanted to circle back to and kind of ask you what you thought might be your best season. One that I wanted to really look at here first was when you played with Shrewsbury in 2014-15. That was a promotion season. And the thing that really stuck out to me, I kind of got into some advanced stats here, and I saw that you played 62% of the minutes for Shrewsbury that year. And while you were on the pitch, they were a plus 26. For the season, they were only plus 36. So they were plus 26 when you were on the pitch, only plus 10 when you weren't. So that really stuck out to me. And you had 6 goals, 7 assists. Was that your best season, or maybe was that a couple of years later?
No, it was, I always say that my first season and my first full season for Accrington was probably the most enjoyable, where I probably scored, every goal's a great goal, but I probably scored some of the best goals of my career in that season when I was at Accrington as an 18-year-old. And, going back to Shrewsbury, I think the problem I had, I when I was at Blackpool, I had a knee injury and I was coming back from fitness, and, it was sort of, wasn't great at Blackpool, and I got the phone call off Mickey Mellon, the manager of Shrewsbury at the time, and it was a great phone call, and for me personally it was a no-brainer. He told me, come down, you'll play, and I was like, okay, happy days. So as I say, I drove down there, and it was interesting because the first game I wasn't involved. I was on the substitute bench, and I sort of had a chat with Mickey, and he said, Bobby, you're gonna play. So I was like, okay, fine. So the next game, obviously, he puts me in then, and again, that was a group of lads who, it was a team. The minute I went into the building, you felt part of a team. You felt part of something special. Everyone was pulling in the right direction. Fans were there, the club, the chairman, the management staff, the players, and as I say, it was the first time I'd played central midfield. That season I played all the games in central midfield. So it was the first time I played.
Assist total really went up too.
Yeah, well, that's it. I played in a very good midfield, and as I say, it was a season where I managed to get myself a few goals, a few assists, and we managed to get promotion on the back of it. But no, it was a very good season, and one that I look back at with a bit of pride. Knowing that I got a medal, and you'd have a Player of the Month trophy sitting in the house and stuff like that. It's something you look back on, and with pride.
Am I right in thinking, Bobby, that 2 of those goals actually came against Stanley at the Crown Ground?
You know what?
I think it was that season.
I think that when I got Player of the Month, I think I scored 2 away at Accrington, and then I scored 2
March 3rd, 2015. It was March 3rd, 2015 that he scored 2 goals against Accrington at the Crown Ground. It's a 2-1 win. I just put that up here.
I think one of them was driving headed in the last. I think it was 87 minutes.
I was going to say, Bobby, there was one goal that sticks in my mind from that game, and it is that one. For the simple reason, when things aren't going well for you, which they weren't at Accrington at the time, this goal actually epitomised it, because the ball was going out sort of towards the corner flag. One of our players went to kick it out to the ground effectively. The ball hit the top of the stand, bounced down to the full-back who took a quick throw in. It was then crossed. You rose like a salmon and nodded it in for the winner with 2 minutes to go. And it just, when it's not going for you, it wasn't going for you. And
of course. I just remember the interview after the game, and because it was one of them. The first goal, John Coleman always said to me, celebrate goals, because when you score them, it's a great feeling. And the first one I scored, it took a deflection. I remember it was a free kick. It took a massive deflection and went in. And I said to myself, I'm not going to celebrate that, like the first goal there, because it's a bit of respect. That if it wasn't for Accrington, I probably wouldn't have had the career I've had. And But the second one, when it's 1-1 and it's a tight game, and Shrewsbury, we're going for the promotion, and it's one of them where the 87th minute, and
it's a big goal, yeah.
Yeah, massive goal, and as I say, I don't score many headers, but it was a massive goal for us. And after the game, it was sort of, I think someone said to the gaffer, Bobby Grant celebrated, against you, and it was a great response to get it from John Coleman. He said Bobby Grant didn't celebrate scoring against me or Accrington; he celebrated scoring a goal.
Yeah,
and So from then I thought, that's a touch of class, that, because people are looking for him to, make an issue out of nothing, and it just shows the caliber of the man, to be honest.
And now, after you had that good season at Shrewsbury, that was when you jumped up to the place where you spent the longest part of your career. You made over 100 appearances with Fleetwood Town, and the season that really stuck out for me there was 2016-17. That was a year you guys finished 4th and made the playoffs. Once again, getting into those advanced stats, you played 95% of the minutes for Fleetwood that year, and you were plus 22 while you were on the pitch. So that was the other one where I was kind of looking at the numbers, and I said, that was really a good season for you. You even had a couple penalty kicks and in there too. So, I mean, tell us about that year and, kind of your time at Fleetwood overall.
Yeah, I think, that season at Fleetwood, I think I played 54 games. It's probably the most I've played in my career. Being the most consistent, probably the fittest I've ever been in my career. And, that was under Uwe Rosler. And again, that was sort of, I played central midfield. Well, we played 3 in midfield, and I played to the left of the 3 in the middle of the pitch. And it was strange at the start because, you're trying to adapt to a new system, a new role. And I'd played it at Shrewsbury, but, in a different team. And, when Uwe Rosler came in, again, he was unbelievable with the way he managed myself and all the lads, and the standards that man has on and off the field are incredible. And I think for me personally, it was when every game I was going into thinking we're going to win this football match, and that was just the mentality that is installed every day. We'd do the same routine. We go through this. He drilled it into us that much that the games became easy. And as I say, it was a season where I probably did enjoy it more than I think it's probably my first full season with Accrington or that season which I enjoy more than anything. And it was a very proud moment to reach the playoffs. And as I say, we lost to Bradford 1-0 over 2 legs, and disappointing really, because we were a better side than Bradford and should have beat them. But as I say, football's a funny old game, and it was funny. It was funny the following season we went away to Bradford and beat them 3-0.
Just to kind of follow up on what you were saying about the number of minutes that you played that year, I did pull it up. You guys actually went to the third round of the FA Cup and had a couple of rematches. So there were 5 FA Cup matches that you played. Then you also had 2 playoff games. It ended up being 53 matches and 4,492 minutes, which is just an unheard of number that you played that season. That's just incredible.
Yeah, it was. But it was a season where there was times where you thought, I think he's going to take me out the side because I need a rest, or I think he might want to go with something else. But Uwe kept me in the side, and it was. You'd end up building a stronger mentality, and it was sort of, I got to a point where I was thinking, I'm in a routine of play, rest, train, and I think going into the games, I felt like I could run 2-3 games after another. That's how my mentality was at the time, and not just myself, it was the mentality of the whole squad. And that's why we didn't have the greatest individuals, we didn't have the best squad on paper, but we had a team, and we had every single player would run through a wall for each other. And it's similar to Accrington, how they've done being successful over the years. Every player knows the role in the side and has each other's back. And if someone comes in and flattens you in a tackle, that your mate's going to be behind you, sticking up for you. And when you go into when you're involved in a team like that, it's only a recipe to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had some great years with Fleetwood. And just kind of one last thing I wanted to ask you on Fleetwood. Like we said, you did have 100 appearances, over 100 appearances total with them. You scored, it was 22 league goals that you scored in total with them. And I was looking through a video that I found on YouTube. And you have some screamers. I mean, there's no such thing as an 18-yard box for you. But one that really stuck out to me was one that you had against Southend, where you're probably about 35 yards out, right into the top left corner. Was that you think your favorite one, or did you have some others?
Do you know what, that goal was actually out of frustration more than anything, because and it's funny because I remember that goal because I don't think it's probably not my most favourite goal, but it was one that I didn't even feel it hit my foot, and I knew the minute I'd struck that ball that it had a chance of going in. And to be fair, it was ridiculous how far out it was, and I think if I'd have missed that, I got took off. But I think the frustration was the fact of the manager was screaming on the sideline. You didn't know, lads didn't know whether they were coming or going, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to hit this. And if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, there's a good chance that I'm going to get whipped off this pitch. So, as I say, if luckily for me, it flew past the goalie into the top corner, and as I say, it was a great feeling when it hit the net.
Yeah. So if that one from 35 yards wasn't your favourite goal, Bobby, then which one was?
My most favourite goal is probably the volley against Crewe when I was 18 at Accrington. I think the keeper, Alan Martin, I think it was, the keeper, he kicked it from obviously a goal kick, and it bounced once, and as I've turned, I've hit it on the volley over my shoulder. And John Coleman still, when I've gone back to Accrington this season, John Coleman said to the lads, have you seen his goal on YouTube? Get it up on YouTube, So, and just stuff like that. It's a great memory, and it was a goal that I'll always remember.
It's funny, Bob, because I had one written down as my favourite goal, and funnily enough, that was it.
We posted it on Facebook earlier today too. We have an Accrington Stanley Supporters Club of North America, so if you're on Facebook, we posted that in there today.
Yeah.
My missus is on Facebook, so I'll get her to have a look at it.
Yeah. No, it was a super goal. It was only in the 3rd minute, I think. You went on to score again, if memory serves me correctly, and we won about 5-3, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think Michael Syme scored a few goals as well in that game, and I think if I remember rightly, I think Proctor scored as well.
Michael Syme scored one when the keeper, I think, mishit a clearance for about 40 yards out.
He lobbed him, didn't he?
Straight back in.
Yeah, he lobbed him, didn't he?
He did.
As I say, another great goal in that game.
It was certainly quite a night, I must say. So that if that was your favourite goal, then which was your most important goal?
Most important? That's a good question. To be fair, I think for Shrewsbury, I think there was a header against Accrington, but there was also I scored 2 away at Portsmouth, and we beat them 2-0. And it was a massive game, and it was the first time I'd played at Portsmouth, and there was a massive crowd on. They had like 17,000, and we were going for promotion again. And I think it was one of them games where everyone thought these are mess up here, and it was a great team performance, and I was delighted that I could score in either half. And the first one was a nice goal, but the second one was, again, I hit it in front of all the Portsmouth fans at their home end, and
at the front end,
again when you celebrate there, and you think to yourself, oh my God, these people want to actually kill me. I thought to myself, I better stop celebrating, because there's a lot of people behind that goal who aren't saying nice stuff.
Yeah. While we're on the goal trail, obviously you managed to score a spectacular one in your first game back to Stanley down at Shrewsbury. How did that feel?
Yeah. To be fair, it was it was a great relief, but also it was it was great because it was my first game back. It's me, you sort of you go from being the top scorer at Wrexham, and sort of no disrespect, but it wasn't a great fit. I'm still a player at Wrexham, and it's a great club, but I just thought to myself, at this moment in time, if the opportunity comes, the manager there was great with me. He said, if the opportunity comes, then we can agree something for you to play higher. If not, then you'll stay here and play, which was great. And when Accrington come calling, it was sort of a no-brainer. It was going 2 leagues above, and sort of going back. As soon as I went back into the building, it was sort of, I had a massive smile on my face, and as I say, going into that game, I think it worked well for me, because we had a couple of suspensions, and otherwise I might not have played in that game, but we had a couple of suspensions, and the gaffers gave me the nod, and it was great to repay that faith, and just smash one into the top corner. It was a great feeling.
It certainly was for all the supporters behind the goal as well, to be honest.
Well, that was it. It was it. I think it was just it was nice just to, because I'd scored some good goals over the years. When I first started Accrington, it was nice to come back after all them years and score a goal like that. Every goal's a good goal, but to hit one like that, it was a great feeling. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Now, speaking of goals, so far between, not counting the 7 that you had at Wrexham this year, but the 7, counting the League 1 and League 2, you have 71 goals in your career, which is an impressive number. When you were 16 and got onto the pitch for that first time, did you ever think you'd get to 70 league goals?
No, I didn't. And to be honest, no, it was sort of, I think my first one at Wickham was a volley. I think that when it was at home, the kit was too big on me, and for Accrington, the kit was massive, and I remember Peter Kavanagh hitting a ball over, and when I scored the first one, I thought, oh, that's a release of my first league goal. And then I think away at Bury, it was the very first time I'd played centre forward for Accrington, and John Coleman put me down there, and I scored 2. And it was then when I got the feeling like I can actually do this. I always knew I could score goals. I always knew I had the ability to score goals and create chances and help the team win. But it was sort of, I got that boost and I got that confidence where I thought, well, it's difficult, but you get chances against these type of players, and they're not. When you go up against them, you think, when you're a young lad, you think, oh, this is going to be tough, this. But if you just play your game and back yourself to score, and that's what every time I get a chance, and from distance, I'll always try and score, because I'll back my own ability from distance to score.
And like I said earlier, you're just 29 and you already have 71 league goals tallied. Do you think 100 goals, is that something where 100 league goals is on your radar?
Do you know what? Yeah, I think I could get to 100, but I'd have to again be playing more regularly, because there's times where I play in midfield. I'm not an out and out goal scorer. I like to assist. I like to get involved in the game, and I think if I was to play as an out and out 9 and have a regular run of games and play as much as I did at your Shrewsbury's, at Fleetwood, then I think I could comfortably get to that mark. But as I say, until I'll cross that bridge at the end of my career, and fingers crossed I can reach that milestone, because it'll have been a great achievement if I can.
Yeah, I think the way that you've played everywhere in your career, you've scored goals, and like you said, even at Wrexham, even though they're a club that was really struggling this year and in 20th at the table, you had 7 goals. You were having a nice season there. So, no matter where you go, you seem to get on the score sheet. Yeah,
I think, as I say, I think the reason why at Accrington it fits, at Fleetwood it fits, when I went to Shrewsbury, it was sort of the fans understood you, the staff understood you, the club understands you, and that's a massive part for me. When you feel wanted and you feel like people have got your back, and people don't want you to fail, then I'll always score goals and help the team. And I think that's why when I went back to Accrington straight away, I knew that when I played that game in Shrewsbury, I thought, I'm going to get chances in this game. It's just about me taking them. And I'm a bit frustrated that I haven't actually scored more, because I had a chance against Bolton that I should have scored in the first half. I'll always get chances, so it's just, as I say, it's just backing myself to put it in the net.
Since you've come back to Accrington recently, Bob, obviously you noticed many changes around the Wham Stadium. It's starting to begin to look like a proper football ground now. You've still got a great rapport with the fans. Is that right? It certainly looks that way.
Yeah, massively. I think I've always my family, when they used to come to the games, they still do, and they've always spoke so highly of the Accrington fans, and I can't thank them enough for the way they treated me as a boy. Really, I was a boy, and when I first started, and sort of the way they had my back no matter what, whether I played bad, whether they always sang my name in a positive way, they always encouraged you. And not many football fans are like that. I've been at clubs where the fans can't wait to get on your back. They can't wait to, when that's not me having a go. That's just part and parcel of football. I understand that the older I got, but I think as a young age, I think I'll always have massive, massive respect for the Accrington fans, because of the way they've treated me, the way they've treated my family, and more importantly, Accrington as a club and as a town. Because, as I said at the start of the interview, I honestly believe if it wasn't for John Coleman first and foremost and that club, I wouldn't have been able to achieve my dreams and achieve what I've achieved in football if it wasn't for that club.
Yeah, certainly, that community feel around the place, and the fact that everyone's in it together, from the chairman down to the groundsman, buzzer, or whatever.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Everyone's pulling the same direction. We all know what we are and what we're doing, I think, to be honest. And
as you said there, there's not many pubs where your chairman, your fans, your ground staff, your players, your management are all in it, are all in the same place. Like you could go out for a meal, or you could go to a pub, and everyone would get on great.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And you don't get that at many football clubs.
Well, now is usually the part of the show where Tony Robinson will do his famous rapid fire section. But since Tony isn't here today, Peter and I are going to take this part. And Peter, you said you got the list of questions from Tony earlier, correct?
Yeah, I think I've got them all here ready to go, Phil.
Okay. And then we have a little sound effect. All right, and then Peter, if you want to start with the first set of questions, these are just some fun yes or no, true or false type of things, and there's a little bit of North versus South flavor to some of them.
And this round actually started off with about 2 questions and just seems to evolve somewhat over the last few weeks, Bobby. So bear with us. So the first one is, and I think I know the answer: Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
had to be, didn't it?
Gotta be. If I'd have said someone else, I'd have been knackered.
Mushy or garden peas?
Mushy.
And I think we'll guess this one: Coronation Street or EastEnders?
I'll go for EastEnders. I don't watch them, but I'll go for EastEnders.
Right, okay. Red or brown sauce on your bacon butty?
On bacon, red. And
with a full English, or full Irish, as Seamus Keneally calls it, would you have it with or without black pudding?
Without.
Without, okay. This next one's been thrown in by Yozza, and it's basically red or white wine?
Red.
I take it he's the white.
If I say white, you'll be knocking at my door.
I take it Mark's the wine connoisseur, is he?
Mark's great. He's the expert on that. If you need any questions answering over the wine, he's your man.
Oh, right, okay. And the final one, which has come from Sean McConville: real grass or artificial grass?
Real grass. I cut it with my teeth, Sean.
That one's very much a loaded question, as you probably gather, because it's about 110% real grass so far.
Yeah, that's what's been pretty straightforward on real grass. I think Sean may have had an idea of what the answer was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's typical of them to send a question in, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he probably asked it with a glint in his eye, shall we say?
And then we have a question that so I'm over in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're into hot and spicy foods over here. We like to put jalapeno peppers on our pizza. So we wanted to know, would you like to try a pizza with jalapeno peppers?
You're joking, aren't you? I can't eat that.
No, that's good stuff.
I like pizza, but can't put them jalapenos on it.
Well, Joe Bursick said pineapple. Are you more of the pineapple, or that not belong on a pizza either?
No, you can't have fruit on a pizza. It's defeating the object, isn't it?
And then Tony, who's originally from Accrington but now lives in Canada, they have a signature dish over there called poutine. He thinks it would be a hit in Lancashire. Chips, gravy, and cheese. And he wants to know if that's something that you would like to try to eat.
What is it? Sprayed cheese?
Chips, gravy, and cheese.
No, I wouldn't.
Not a pre-game meal by any stretch of the imagination.
It sounds horrendous.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind cheese. I wouldn't mind cheesy chips, but not with gravy on.
Not with gravy. No.
Yeah, that's
I'm with you, Bobby. I'm with you.
When it's 30 below zero up in Canada, I think they need the gravy just to keep the chips hot. Was that all of Tony's questions, or did we skip over any?
I think that's the ones I've got, Phil, unless you can think of any more.
Oh yeah, I know. We have the recent one that we've put in is: Are you planning to watch season 2 of Sunderland Till I Die?
No, I haven't watched the first one. I think there's a couple more box sets on Netflix that I'd prefer to watch than not, to be honest.
Yeah, I caught the first episode and a half last night. I mean, it's a lot like the first season, and I think that it's episode 4 that there's some Accrington footage, so that's really what I'm in it for.
Phil, I've actually watched all of it, and I didn't see any Accrington footage, so don't hold your breath on that one.
Oh, wow. Maybe what I had heard it must have gotten cut on the editing floor or something. Wow.
No,
we played with Sunderland 3 times last year. I think they thought we'd get him in there at least once.
No. Missed them all.
Typical.
Well, I think that was most of the questions that I had written down. Peter, did we get to all of your questions already?
I've just got a couple of quick ones, really. Obviously, as Bobby said, he's obviously a Wrexham player. Presumably, as and when something happens, and goodness knows when that'll be at the moment, you obviously go back to Wrexham. What do you think will happen from there?
To be honest, look, as I say, cross that bridge when it comes to it. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, I could have done without this happening with the break, because you know I was loving going into working with the Accrington lads, playing for Accrington again, and you know, being in an environment where you know the lads, everyone's pulling in the right direction. Everyone, you know, every day they enjoy the work. But as I say, I can't answer that question now because
I appreciate
don't know. As I say, I'd love to come back and play for Accrington, but you know, it's not in my hands. I've got another year left on my contract at Wrexham, and you know, as I say, it come the summer, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah, no, that's fair comment. That's fair comment.
Yeah, and being a North American-based show, one thing that we kind of ask a lot of guys is if the opportunity, as you say, you got a contract offer to come play in the MLS or the USL Championship, and the numbers were right, would that be something that would catch your interest, or are you kind of a guy that wants to stay at home?
No, I think if you'd asked any of the lads, you know, if you'd asked Sean or Yosha there, for instance, if they got the chance and everything was right for the family, and you know, to move over there and try to look in a different country, I think it'd be a great opportunity. It'd be a great experience. But as I say, unless someone gives you that opportunity or contacts you for that opportunity, then you know, it's always if buts and maybes. But you know, I think every player, if it was right for them and their family, they'd love to go and play. Yeah.
Well, I think that says a lot about how the game has grown this side of the pond. Because, like you said, most of the guys that we have asked that question have seemed like, I mean, if the opportunity came out, I'd definitely look at it. If I had asked that same question to you back in 2000 or 2005 when you were getting started, maybe that answer wouldn't have been the same. So it's good to hear that the leagues over here are starting to get a good reputation over on that side of the pond.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I've just got one last obscure one, really, Bobby. And it's what do you sort of do for hobbies away from football?
Hobbies. Well, I have to send Joseph pictures in me red wine if I ever have a glass of that. So I think that's it. No, to be fair, I don't play much sport outside of football. You know, I know a lot of lads play golf. I know a lot of lads play golf, but I've tried it, and you know, I don't think it's. I think if you get into it, it's great, but it's not good for your anger problems. Because you know, I
second that. The last time I played golf, I had a couple clubs end up in the lake, and that was the last time I played.
Yeah, I think you need to be calm when you're playing golf, and when you lose that many balls or you end up breaking the clubs. It's not great, but no, as I say, I like to switch off from football when I'm not playing. I like to spend time with my family, friends, and
good for you.
As I say, I try and switch off because when it's quite an intense business when you're playing.
Yeah, I could imagine.
One thing I always like to say is it takes a lot of balls to golf the way that I do.
Which therefore makes it an expensive occupation, Phil.
What's that?
I said it would therefore make it a very expensive.
Oh yeah, hey, I quit the game years ago. I just so sometimes you decide that this sport just quite isn't for me, and that was what golf was. But no, Bobby. Did you have anything that we hadn't asked you about, or anything you wanted to ask us?
No. Everything. I think it's best you ask the questions, not me. But as I say, it was really enjoyed my time speaking to yourselves.
Great, Bobby, you've been an absolute star, and thanks very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have a chat with you, mate.
Oh no, brilliant! Any time. As I say, if I don't bore you too much and you want to speak again, you just give me a call. I'm more than happy to answer the questions as I think I'm most of the lads.
Yeah, well, we really, really appreciate your time, and really, really enjoyed the chat today and hearing your great stories. And we just wish you all the luck in the future. And I hope it is at Accrington, but wherever it is, we hope to see you get those 100 goals that we talked about, and we will be following your career, and definitely want to have you on the show in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me. As I say, all the best, and hopefully I'll speak to you in the future.
And hopefully we'll see you on the pitch soon.
Yeah, keep your family and yourself healthy and safe, because that's the number one thing for everybody right
now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's time. Yeah, that's it. So, hold on.
All right, well, I always end things with an on Stanley on.
On Stanley on.
On Stanley on.
Have a great week, guys.
Perfect.